What's up guys, Universal Mastery. So what I do on my channel is I break down the occult sciences to an extremely practical level so that you can use them in your day-to-day life and get real, actual results. So what I'm doing is I'm continuing on this archetypal series, and the archetype that I'm going to be talking about today and the tarot card is the archetype of death, or the tarot card, the death card. So if you want to know a little bit more about this archetype, about this energy, about how it can influence your actual life, or if you want to know a little bit more of it in terms of the tarot, then definitely stay tuned for the rest of this video, because I'm going to go into depth about the qualities, the challenges, the description, the attributations, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of my personal experience from walking down the pathway on the tree of life that is symbolized through the archetype of death and the tarot card, the death card. Okay, so if you're interested in that, then definitely stay tuned for the rest of the video. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is definitely make sure you go and you check out my Patreon. On my Patreon, I have exclusive content. Half of that content is going to be geared towards actually getting your hands and feet wet with real spiritual practices that I have in video format, broken down step by step so you know exactly what you're doing and how to do it. So for example, I have a video where I give you chakra empowerments and I say them on camera and I show you how to do them in an effective way. That was a little bit of a tongue twister. And then I also have a video that is a spiritual invocation. So I have literally a video of me sitting right here and I tell you the steps and everything that you need to know in order to perform a successful invocation. Okay, and then I have other videos on there, so you know, if you become a tier 2 member, then you'll be able to check that out for yourself. But then the other half of the videos are going to be geared towards educational entertainment, which is going to be a video that's very similar to this. You know, it's educational, but you're also getting a lot of value from it at the same time. Okay, so in order to gain access to these videos, you have to once again at least be a tier 2 member or up. Okay, and where you're going to be able to find the Patreon is when you click the description. It's going to be the very first link at the top. Okay, that's where you'll find it. And in order to be a tier 2, it literally costs $9.95, and that's a reoccurring payment monthly. So $9.95 a month. And that literally comes out to less than $1 a day. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't be able to afford that with the value that's offered. And as you go up in tiers, the benefits go up as well. I'll let you check that out for yourself. And before I go into this video, I just want to give a special shout out to the top tier members already of the Patreon. I love all you guys. I love you guys, and I love all of you that are part of the Patreon. And I'm glad to have you on the team. It is definitely fun. Okay. So other than that, I'm going to go right into this video. Here we go. So we're talking about Path 13, which once again is the archetype and the tarot card of death. So I'm going to go right into it. So Path 13, path of intimacy, the way of transformation, the qualities that you're going to experience, the influences that you're going to experience from this archetype of death. Okay. These are the qualities that you will actually feel when you initiate through this pathway 13 according to the Kabbalah tree of life. And I've been through this myself, and I will vouch and I will say this with authenticity that this is exactly what you will experience. Maybe not necessarily every single thing that I'm about to read, but you will experience a lot of these qualities, and a lot of this information is extremely accurate. Let's just put it that way, and you will see it manifest in your day-to-day life. Okay, so the qualities are transformation, intensity, dealing with death, inheritance, sexuality, healing, criminal behavior, death and resurrection, dangers coming from outside, change that is forced by external circumstances. Okay, so the description is this path links beauty and eternity. So that's going to be according to the tree of life. So beauty is going to be Tiphareth. And let me see here. Okay, so beauty is going to be Tiphareth. and then Netzach is going to be the eternity. So this is the path. If you look up on Google right now what the Kabbalah tree of life looks like, you can see that middle Tiphareth and then Netzach on the right side. The pathway that connects those two spheres together, this is the path 13. This is the path of death, and this is where you will experience the influence of this archetype and all the things that I'm reading right now when you get to that pathway. Okay? So here we go. So this path links beauty and eternity on a road designed to enhance transformation. Any kind of transformation involves a bit of death and destruction as we clear out the old and plant the new. Every death, however, is followed by a birth, by regeneration. Secrets, investigation, research, intimacy, and sexuality call for attention here. This road teaches that nothing lasts forever, not even beauty. It should be respected for its great abilities both to heal and destroy. It teaches the importance of working with and combining other people's talents and money to further a higher aim. Okay, so the affirmation of this archetype is going to be, I accept death knowing it would lead to a rebirth. I am guided by life to a deeper intimacy with the hidden parts of my soul. The psalm is going to be, thy word is lamp unto my feet and light unto my path. The astrological aspect is going to be Scorpio. Okay, the tarot card is obviously the death card. So the death card does not denote a literal physical death. It symbolizes the need for transformation and change. So when you hear death, it doesn't necessarily mean physical. It's spiritual, psychological, emotional, mental, a change, a transformation, and a transmutation. Okay? It symbolizes the need for transformation and change. It signifies the death of a situation or attitude more than the passing of a person. Okay? Remember that all death holds the seed of rebirth inside. So the challenges that you're going to experience while on this pathway, okay, when you get to this pathway, path 13, that connects Tiphareth to Netzach, you are going to experience some of these challenges in the world around you and within yourself. Okay, so I'm going to read the challenges off. Fear of death, fear of change, fear of intimacy, hypersexuality, jealousy, possessiveness, emotional manipulation, and abuse. These are some of the challenges. So the Hebrew letter is Nun, which means a fish in Aramaic, an ancient language that resembles Hebrew. It evokes the fish that swims in the deep, dark seas, the deep ocean that symbolizes intimacy and intense emotional energy. Okay? All right, so that was the qualities, the challenges, the description, and the attributations. Okay? So once again, all this information that I just read off is extremely accurate. Now let me tell you a little bit about how my life looked and what I was influenced by when I was actually walking through this pathway myself. So around this time, I didn't know, once again, I didn't know about these pathways. I didn't know about them the way that I'm explaining it now. I didn't have this information, okay? I was literally just experiencing these because I had initiated myself into some pretty deep spiritual practices. Through deep spiritual practices, I had initiated myself into into uncovering mysteries, and it led me to the tree and initiating myself through the tree. So when I came across this path, once again, I didn't know that I was on path 13. I didn't know any of the stuff I just read off. All I knew is that I was going through changes and that I was going through some form of like initiations. That's all I knew. So now that I've been through it, now that I've uncovered what I went through, I can now share, and I can literally put all the pieces together of what exactly I experienced on this pathway. So around this time, I was working at Equinox, and this is funny because in Miami during this time frame, there was this was around 4th of July. Okay, it was right around that time, and Miami got very crazy. I mean, it got extremely crazy during that time. And yes, it usually always does, but this year, this last 2019 specifically, they literally shut down 3 different roads. Like, I've never seen so many police officers in my life. I mean, it was crazy. There were so many people out there, so many crazy people. There was fights that were going on. I mean, like, there was brawls that were happening, like 40 on 40 people. It was pure chaos. And I remember that, you know, working at Equinox, you know, there's a lot of people in Miami that don't like getting engaged with all that craziness and that chaos. And a lot of those people were afraid. They're like, I don't even feel safe walking outside right now. I mean, I'm telling you, like, it was crazy. There was a guy that had walked during this pathway. There was a guy that had walked into Equinox, and he had like a whole bunch of cocaine on him, and I guess he had a gun on him. He had a gun on him as well. And he walks into Equinox, and he was just trying to like hang out in the lobby, and we had to tell him, like, you can't be here. Like, you know, you're obviously not going to the gym. You can't be here, because the environment that we need to keep there is a safe, family kind of environment in a sense. And yeah, and this guy came in with fucking cocaine all up in his pockets and a gun in his waist. You couldn't see the gun though, but you could tell this guy probably had a gun. And we kicked him out, and he went out. At first, he was giving the front desk a hard time. He was giving us a hard time. He was like, I'm not leaving. Fuck you guys. So then they called the police, and a police officer. And then right when they called the police, he started going back downstairs through the elevator. And then the police officer showed up and ran into him. And he did something that made the officer attack him. So the officer went on top of him and literally got the cocaine, got the gun, and they arrested him right there. So it was kind of crazy, and everyone was watching out the window and everything, because at Equinox, all the windows, like all the walls are pretty much windows in South Beach. So yeah, so that was, you know, that was a crazy experience, but that was normal. That was happening throughout that party weekend. Like it was lasted for like 2 weeks. That was normal. There was tons of crazy people out there. I'm sure tons of weapons, tons of guns. And yeah, I mean, it was, you know, it was just chaos. Like, I mean, that's just the best way I can explain it. And then also, what ended up happening in my life is my grandfather on my father's side ended up passing away. So he was old, and it was, you know, it was bound to happen. We were expecting it. It was nothing out of the ordinary. But during this pathway, during this time, this archetype of the death, he passed away. And it was very interesting, because when he passed away, I felt his presence. I felt him. I felt his presence in a way that I never felt before, meaning that when he passed, I felt like I had a better connection with him than when he was actually alive. So it was almost like he passed away, and then he kind of gave me some acknowledgement, like, keep doing what you're doing, Jared. Keep going on your path. Like, I'm now in another plane right now, and I see that you're doing stuff. And I, you know, kind of like, I love you. You know what I mean? Like, you're my grandson. I love you. And that was it. And so that ended up happening. You know, that was a literal death. But he was older, and he was sick, and you know, it was gonna happen. So that happened. And then I also remember during this time as well, you know, I was working at the gym, and there was just a lot of, you know, people that were they had a lot of death energy in them. So what I mean by that is there was a lot of people at the gym that had a lot of issues. They had a lot of problems, and it was very emotionally taxing to listen to them, because it's like they have all these issues, they have all these problems, but they're not looking for solutions. They're not looking for answers. They're not looking to get better. They're literally just looking to be toxic. They're just trying to vent this death energy, but they're not trying to change it. So they're just constantly, you could say, recycling this death energy out, and then doing the same shit that brings it right back in, like making unhealthy choices, just talking about things that are not getting them anywhere when it comes to like the politics, and they're just so consumed in that mindset that it just becomes a cycle, and they become these people that you don't really want to be around. And I remember, because I was working at the gym during this time, and I had connected with a lot of people that were carrying that death energy, and that energy that was just like why do you care so much about that? Like, you're not gonna change this. Like, why do you care? And why are you telling me about this? Like, I don't care. But that's not how I felt during this pathway. During this pathway, I felt like that was something that I needed to experience. First, you know, it happened for a reason. I was connecting with certain people that had a lot of that death type of energy in them for a reason. And what I was able to do was I was able to dissect it and learn a lot about that energy. So what I felt like I was doing is I was transmuting it. So like they're sitting there, they're telling me about all the issues that are going on in the world. They're telling me about all these problems. And I know in the back of my mind that, okay, you're telling me about all this, but you're not changing anything. You're not doing anything. We're going to wake up tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, and it's going to be the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And I was aware of that, but I was transmuting it and I was learning. I guess the biggest thing that I learned was that some people are just going to do that, and that's a part of, that's a part of life. It's a certain vibration, it's a certain degree, and that does not mean I need to change them, does not mean I need to heal them or show them a better way. It's like there are people that are meant to do that, and it's for other people like me and for other people that want to take a step ahead in life. We need people like that to learn that that's a place, that is a stage, that is a place to be, but you don't want to stay there. You want to go higher. And the only way that you can really learn from it is by experiencing it. I mean, like, if there wasn't people that were on lower vibrations to different degrees, then there would be no such thing as higher vibrations to different degrees. It really teaches you balance. So that was, I guess you could say, the archetype of death. The archetype of death's way to show me that this is how some people are, and this is actually the value in what death is and what it has to bring. To the table, you could say. Even though it was uncomfortable, I didn't really like sitting in front of someone hearing about all their problems and what they think is going on in the world and all this stuff that they're not going to do anything about. It was still, it was a very, it was just a very understanding experience where I sat and I listened anyways. I was filled with this energy where I could withstand that. And once again, I transmuted it. So yeah, so that was that. Let me just make sure that I covered everything that I want to cover. Inheritance, sexual healing. So yeah, so then also the inheritance, I'm sure my dad got some of the inheritance. So it says transformation, intensity, dealing with death, inheritance. So I'm sure my dad was dealing with, I'm sure my dad got the inheritance from his father passing, so that happened. Criminal behavior, that was exactly what I shared with what was going on in Miami at the time. Criminal behavior, death and resurrection, dangers coming from outside, change that is forced by external circumstances. Yeah, so literally like all of those things were manifesting in my day-to-day life at that time. So yeah, other than that, I think I shared enough on this one. Once again, it can go a lot more in depth and there's a lot more detail to it, but what I shared with you is exactly what you need to know and understand so that you have a general idea of what these archetypes actually do in your day-to-day life. So I'm going to leave it there. If you enjoyed this video, if you like this video, definitely hit the thumbs up. Definitely helps me out and my channel a lot, and I appreciate it. And then come over here, hit the subscribe button, okay? And then hit the button above that, which is the bell, because I post videos as often as I can, and what that does if you hit that bell is it notifies you every time I post a video. Okay, and once again, if you want to be a part of the Patreon and gain access to all of my exclusive content that I have on there, which is a good amount of content right now, and I'm just putting more up, valuable content, you will find the Patreon at the very top of my description. It is the first link. Okay, remember, tier 2 is only $9.95 a month, which literally comes out to less than $1 a day. So definitely go check that out if that's something that you're interested in. The second link below is going to take you to my Facebook the second link below is going to take you to my Streamlabs merch page. You go there, you can place an order for a Hecate sigil shirt. Okay, it's a shirt with a sigil on it. And they will literally ship it right to your door if you place your order, just like Amazon Prime would. Okay, the third link below is going to take you to my Facebook community. When you go and you click that link, you're going to see a pinned post on my community page that says private group here. Click that, request to join, I'll add you in. What I do on there is I post extra content in the form of written and in the form of quotes. So definitely make sure you go and check that out. And yeah, other than that, I hope you ladies and gentlemen have a wonderful rest of the day or night wherever you are, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.